Israel saw another surge in terror attacks this morning. At 8:56 a.m., a stabbing attack in the central city of Ra'anana injures one person. The attack took place at a bus stop in the city when an East Jerusalem resident approached a 32-year-old Israeli male and began pounding him with a knife, causing light injuries before being stopped. At 10:13, two East Jerusalem residents opened fire on board a bus in Jerusalem's Armon HaNatziv neighborhood. They proceed to stab passengers, killing 2 people and injuring at least 10 others. Only 6 minutes later, at 10:19, another attack takes place in Jerusalem when a driver rams into a crowd, killing 1 person and injuring several others. Following the crash, the attacker reportedly stepped out of his vehicle and went on to stab the wounded. Out of the 3 injured, 1 sustained serious wounds and 5 others were taken to hospital for shock treatment. At 10:37, a second stabbing attack in Ra'anana injures 4, one of them severely. Eyewitnesses at the scene said the attacker began stabbing people on the street with a large knife. Bystanders then began chasing the assailant and, together with police forces, managed to stop and neutralize the attacker who attempted to escape. Security sources in Jerusalem say the attack seemed, quote, like a planned and timed assault. Jerusalem's mayor, meanwhile, calls for drastic measures to combat Palestinian terrorism.
We will ask drastic measures that will change the reality within the Jewish neighborhoods in Jerusalem. More drastic measures can be done, measures not taken yet. This will be in accordance with the Israeli Security Agency and the police.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a special cabinet meeting to discuss means of combating the new wave of terrorism.
A short while ago, I convened the cabinet and the top security of Israel, and from here I will return to discussions where we shall decide on a host of steps in our war against incitement and terror.
Today's wave of violence comes amid heightened tensions both in Israel and the West Bank. On Monday, about 20 Palestinians broke through the border fence separating southern Gaza from Israel. Israel closed the Gaza crossing after rioting continued on Tuesday. And today, clashes erupted in Bethlehem, where Palestinians threw stones at Israeli defense forces, who fired back with tear gas and rubber bullets, in a day declared a day of rage.
And with me right now from Ramallah Live is our correspondent, Mohammed Al-Qasim. Mohammed, good evening. So, Mohammed, what are the latest events in Ramallah right now?
Lucy, we're close to the Beit El checkpoint in Ramallah. Clashes were heavy at times earlier in the day between Israeli army and Palestinian protesters. The situation seems to be happening every day, but I must say that today the number of people who showed up to this location was a lot less than what has been the last few days. Less than 200 people showed up to protest, throwing stones, burning tires, and Israeli army in return through tear gas bombs, canisters, as well as using live bullets and rubber bullets. There has been news of many injuries, at least 20 here in this location. But clashes erupted and took place in many other cities throughout the West Bank. Just to the south of us, a Palestinian man was killed with a bullet to the chest earlier this evening. He was from a Dehesha camp. Also, clashes took place in Hebron, as well as to the north from here in Nablus. This is the latest from Ramallah. Yeah. Lucy?
Yes. Mohammed, you know, if we're looking at the situation and in any other cases, we would have expected that the West Bank will actually flare up even more, but somehow, and for some reason, it's not happening. Can we maybe assume that the security coordination between Israel and the Palestinian Authority is actually happening on the ground?
That's one factor. There has been confirmed news, even though the Palestinian Authority doesn't come out publicly and say that they are meeting with their Israeli counterparts to discuss security issues. But today it was obvious that not in uniform, but Palestinian security forces or personnel, I should say, were available here, were seen here either in cars or just mingling around the crowd, seeing how the situation is. But these protests, they're not organized. They're not part of any or called on because of, one of the Palestinian factions called for it. It's not Fatah, it's not Hamas, it's not the Jihad al-Islami. Those are just young Palestinian men and women. We saw many young girls here today, at least 25 to 30 of them. They just show up every single day and they just, clash with the Israeli forces. So between what the Palestinian Authority doing and applying pressure or keeping a distance also, keeping a distance from the protesters, but its security forces is available and you can feel that.
Yes, Mohammed Al-Qasim, thank you very much for now for this update.